So welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different to what we usually do on this channel. I do a lot of coloring, and if you guys haven't subscribed yet, I do encourage you to go press the subscribe button now, because there is a lot of fun stuff, I try not to just do entertainment, but also to teach you guys a lot of techniques, a lot of fun ways to color in different ways, to get creative as an adult. And we just like to have fun here. But today I actually wanted to shift in a slightly different direction, and I wanted to spend some time in our 2022 planner. So if you haven't seen this yet, this is the planner that I have brought out, and now that we're in the start of the year, I thought what a perfect time to actually have a look at it together and actually have a little bit of a plan with me session. So you guys can ask some questions, we can talk through some ideas, and I can show you an example of how I would approach setting up a page, using the stickers, and actually using a planner. Now, you might not have this planner, you might have a different planner, but you can still apply some of these ideas. Even if you're doing a scrapbooking or just a creative person, you can still apply some of these ideas there as well. But if all of that doesn't interest you and you just want to hang and chat, we can do that too. So feel free in the chat to just ask questions. We'll be talking as we go. That's what these live streams are about. They're really just a chance for us to hang out. The creative stuff, let's be honest, in the past few streams, I haven't gotten very far in the creative stuff. I'm working on that because I get a little bit distracted.
Are you going to finish the Dumbo page one day?
I haven't finished the Dumbo coloring page yet. That's really bad. But that's just how we roll. Unfinished projects. Maybe there's a video idea in the future to finish all of my unfinished projects. I don't know if I want to do that. Moving on. So look, if you want something to do as well, go. Louisa said she's scrapbooking right now. That's a great idea. Do something creative while you're watching, or just eat. I like to eat while I watch. I've actually got, Shane set me up a sneaky little snack drawer here in my second drawer. This is where he hides all the snacks. He loves me. He's well prepared for me. But I have here the 2022 coloring planner. We do still have a few of these in stock, and we set up a coupon code if you wanted to get one for the hardcover planner. There's a coupon code which I'll get Shane to pop in the chat if you can handle. Why did my computer go to sleep? I did turn off sleep mode and for some reason it didn't. There are some left, so you can get 20% off now that we're in the new year. So Shane will pop that coupon code in the chat for you. Otherwise, I'll read it out. It's S8TY5. But Shane will, it's actually in the video description as well if you want to just copy and paste it. But Shane is putting it in the comments for you if you want to grab a copy, but there's no pressure to it all. I also want to use today the sticker book. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. This is basically the sticker book that is designed to go with the planner, but it's also just got some general stickers as well. So we'll be having a little bit more of a look through this, but here's just a quick glance. Wow, that's noisy. It's been in months. Perfect timing. So these are just some of the coloring stickers. As you can see, they're all intended to be colored in, but you can also just leave them black and white. I actually like the black and white, but that's up to you. So I'm going to use some of them today as well. Now I have just spotted there is another super chat from Knuckle Sandwich. Been following your work since your collab with Jazz. I've learned so much. Are we doing any conventions? Now, are you referring to live events, I'm guessing? I would love to jump along to some live events. Obviously, at the moment, with the state of the world, that's a little bit complicated. So I'm not really sure what our options are going to be there. I don't expect us to be able to leave Australia for a while, just because it's a bit complicated. But it is on my radar, something I'd love to do. So I think that's just going to be a stay tuned one day type thing. The next time they have some planner conferences here in Australia, I'll definitely be trying to jump along to that. And if there's YouTube conferences at some point, I would love to get involved. We're just going to have to assess those as they come up for obvious reasons with everything is happening in the world. And we also have young kids to look out for. But I'm sure one day we'll work that out. So this is what happens when I chat. I get distracted and I move on. So just quickly with the sticker sets. Now, just so that you guys know. So these sticker sets I actually also sell as printable versions. I have a few here that I have previously done. But I have noticed that I hadn't used these with the Cricut before. I've been using them with the Silhouette. As soon as I went to use them with the Cricut, actually for next week's video, I noticed that they didn't work as well in a Cricut. So I've actually gone in the last few days and redesigned my entire collection of printable stickers, and they're not updated yet on the website, but in the next few days I'm going to be making a changeover. So if you've ever purchased printable stickers from me and you've been a bit stuck on how to use the files, that's all going to be updated, and you can send us an email, and over the next week, although please give us a little bit of grace because there might be a lot of people, we will be able to get you updated files. But please email us, because it's a lot easier if you email us and we can send them to you than waiting for us to just get them to you automatically, because we won't know who needs them. But if you are wanting to print them yourself, this sticker book, this entire sticker book actually comes as a printable version as well. So many noises. There are all the same stickers, even though it looks different. I've just made it so that it doesn't waste paper by being the smaller size. So you actually get all the same ones, and that way you can print as many as you want. I've even gone ahead and printed some, it's a little bit hard to see here, but on colored paper rather than sticker paper, so they can actually work as die cuts as well. But that's something I was going to use a little bit later. So there are printable versions. There's also a digital version of all of my sticker sets if you want to use them on an iPad or digital planner, or you could even use them as like clip art in PowerPoint presentations or in Word documents to just decorate stuff. I've even wondered, I reckon you could probably even use them in Instagram stories and stuff, although I haven't tested that. Not really sure, but it might be an option. So I think if you guys are ready, unless Shane has some questions we can jump in with, I might get started and actually show you guys how I would go about setting up a page. In fact, I might start by showing you some of, I don't have many examples, but some of the planner spreads that I've done in the past to show you some of the different styles. And then if there's a particular style that you go, gee, I wonder how she did that, we can talk through it. Otherwise, I will just show you an idea from scratch. So Shane, has there been any questions that you wanted to jump in with first, or should we just keep going?
I'll just have a quick look through and let you know. So
while Shane's having a look, I've also got here the last 2 years of planners. It's actually changed quite a lot. As you can see, this was the 2021. The cover of the new one is like solid hard cover, much high quality. The spiral is like, that's a soft spiral. This one's like proper hard spiral. So the new planner is much higher quality than the old one.
Got one question here from Python Chick.
Yeah.
How do you keep your alcohol markers from bleeding over lines?
That really depends a lot on the paper that you're using more than anything. If you're talking about bleeding, so there are 2 different types of bleeding with the alcohol marker. You've got bleeding through the page, which is basically inevitable unless you're using bleed-proof paper. And then you've got bleeding outside the lines, which is, I think, what you're talking about, where if you've colored in a circle, it goes out. Again, the different paper will change this. So if you're using bleed-proof paper, that's actually probably not going to happen at all. If you're using, I did a few different tests in my paper video. At the end of my paper video, I actually talked about markers, and I used some different pencil papers with the markers. And surprisingly, even though like there were 2 different brands of Bristol vellum, one of them, the ink it bled further, it feathered. The other one, it didn't. So paper does make a difference, but if the paper that you have does bleed outside the lines, I actually just try to work with that and color like a millimeter away from the lines. It's not as practical, but it is kind of the only workaround. So really your options are either work with it and color away from the lines and just expect the feathering, or change the paper. They're sort of the only 2 options when it comes to alcohol markers.
Mia Thompson has asked if you're still going to post every Friday.
I'm trying.
We only took 1 week off, didn't we?
We only took 1 week off, Mia. No, I love you, Mia. You post so often on our videos. We love seeing your support. We post every week. We've had, I think last year we took 2 weeks off overall. Actually, I think the week in the middle we did a live stream. So technically we didn't take that week off. But we did take 1 week off over Christmas. If we don't post on Friday, sometimes it slips to a Saturday. And this year we might even be changing the date. But we do try and post once a week because I want to give you guys great content. And that's sort of what we want to commit to. So we will try.
Now, Sarah, how do you store your coloured pencils?
That's a good question. I am very simple. I just put them in tubs like this. It's not necessarily the most practical though. Part of this is because I like it because it's pretty. But when it comes to using these, what I actually do, I have a drawer down the bottom, one with a random pencil in it apparently, of just all my empty trays. So when I actually go to use these pencils, you might even notice in some of my videos, I will pull out the colors, like if I'm wanting to use blues, I'll pull out all the blues and lay them on the tray, and then I'll work out the colors I want because the trays are actually much more practical. That's for the pencils that I have out. So my Prismacolors like that. If they're a brand where I don't need the numbers and I just want to pick and grab, then this works great. And I just sort, like I have, this is just Prismacolor. If they're my cheaper pencils and I don't mind mixing up brands, then I just keep all of the one color in a tub like this, where it's sort of color. So you've kind of got my reds.
Or up behind you.
Yeah, like behind me. I've got like my yellows here and my blues here, or up the top there. That's actually a mix of brands, but all the yellows, greens, because those brands, I don't mind mixing and matching. The Prismacolors I keep separate because that's the main brand I use. But then something like my Luminance pencils, I actually keep in my top drawer, although at the moment I think they're actually over there. Yes, they are. They're over on my shelf at the moment. And I actually keep them in their original case, so they're still nicely arranged because they're sort of nicer pencils. So it depends on the brand. I actually do a few different things. There's no right or wrong. It really just comes down to trying a few different things and seeing what's the most practical for you.
A couple of other things. Yep. There's another super chat here.
Thank you.
And
Who's that from?
I'll let you read the name because I'm going to make a big mess of it. I'm really sorry.
We apologise for all of the names that we missay because that's just the reality.
We're Australian. We just can't pronounce stuff properly.
Is that right? Zulika. I hope I've got that right. Either way, Zulika Dobson, thank you so much. That is amazing. Zulika has done a super chat of $50 and that is very, very generous, and I really appreciate that.
Couple more questions as you keep going.
Yeah.
Louise has asked, what is your main job?
This. This is it. This is my job. This is what I do.
Lauren's asked, how old are your children? 2 and 6.
Yeah. I love how you looked at me after that, like just checking I got that right. So while Shane's going through those next few, in fact, I might just hold off so I can show you some things. I wanted to quickly show you just in my past 2 planners, a few of the different layouts, just to give you some inspiration on some different layout ideas. Now, just so that you are aware, I personally do a lot of my planning digitally. So as much as I make these planners, confession time, don't use, this one's even this one's the sample planner. I actually don't use these myself other than to be creative. So I use them more for journaling and just to have fun. So I actually more use them as like a dummy planner. I plan pages just for the sake of making a fake planner. Partly because this is my job and this is what I do, but that's just what I do. Also because then when I have stuff like this, I can show you this without worrying about everyone getting way too much personal information about what I do with my day. So the dates in here are fake. Don't get excited. I make up fake lives to create my planner spreads. So in this...
That's so sad.
In this version of me, I wanted to hire a virtual assistant. I had a coffee date with a random stranger because there's no name on there. I couldn't wait for the weekend. It's not completely fake. No, it is fake because I picked up Zach, our 6-year-old, from Ollie, our 2-year-old's house. So a 2-year-old has a house in this version. These are fun times. Clearly I couldn't get that creative to think of someone else's name other than our own children. So this version of this page here, what I have done is I've used the boxes, but I've also used, these are actually from my functional sticker pack, but you could also do this idea, so this is one example. In fact, I think this is the exact pack that I used. I actually have this same pack in a few different colors. So here's another color set. And another color set again, there you go. The functional sticker pack, you can get similar packs like this from a lot of different sticker shops, or you could even just cut out squares from some paper if you're wanting the budget option. And basically what I've done is I've created a background layer with some different layers of washi tape. Again, you could even use a coloring page, or you could use just something decorative to cover up the boxes. And then I've made my own new boxes, which, as you can see, completely break the boundaries of the page here. So I've completely ignored the lines on top and put these everywhere else to try and create a bit of a different way of working this. So it leaves me with less space to actually plan the days and more decorative space. Now, how much space you need for planning versus how much space you want to decorate will depend a lot on your personal needs. So that's why I've tried to create some different options here to show you how different people might do things. So that's one example of how you can use layers and actually, it's almost a bit like scrapbooking, but in your planner. I've then used one of the coloring sticker packs just on top with some little stickers just to decorate. And you can see I actually haven't colored this page at all, but I'm pretty happy with how that's come out. So that's one example. What else have we got in this sample planner here? Let's have a look. I've got some.
Do you use watercolor much?
I have not used watercolor. I'd like to have a go at watercolor this year. I'm pretty much a complete newbie when it comes to watercolor, so I've probably dabbled a bit, but not really. This is another example of probably a bit more of a practical page. As you can see, I've gone really minimal on the stickers. I've more focused here on color coordinating the highlighters. So I actually bought, I think it's this set of highlighters, a pastel set of highlighters. These were just from, I think, Kmart or something that I bought these. And so again, I've just, this time, just drawn little boxes in. So this is like a really simplistic version, but I've highlighted everything just to bring the color to it. So again, no actual coloring in, just the highlighting to bring that color. What else have we got? This one is quite different. This one has a lot less room for planning. It is more a pretty page. So I have used a gold paint pen. Now, just to show you this planner, that didn't really go through at all, which is good. But I've used a gold paint pen just to outline some different sections. I've just grabbed some of the coloring stickers and I've spread them out and laid them out. And I'll show you how to do this kind of layout soon, because that's similar to one of the things I was going to do in the new planner. I've also grabbed these. These stickers are actually clear on the back. They are from, these are another one of my sets. They're from my motivational set. So that's one of the ones, it comes with a few different things like this as well, but that's part of that set. And so because that's got the gold foil on it, that fit really well on this. But like here, I've actually used a coloring sticker box in the background and then put the motivational thing on top. Now here I've drawn in some little boxes, but this is probably more if you're into like a scrapbooking journaling approach rather than a practical daily schedule approach, because obviously it doesn't leave you a lot of room to actually do your planning. So if you needed more of a professional planner or a planner schedule, you'd probably want to tone down a lot of this decorative stuff and maybe limit it to 1 or 2 boxes rather than taking up so much page. But you can still see how with this, I've really embraced the black and white. I've even drawn with a pen here some extra black and white lines to work around this and some dots to really bring all the black and white together on that page. So that's another idea there. Hope some of these ideas are helping. Please ask questions as we go.
What kind of sharpener do you use to sharpen the square brute funers?
I haven't used them a lot lately, but in that sharpener video that I have, I also have a blog post that goes with that. And in that blog post, it actually tells you for those favorite sharpeners that I listed, it'll tell you which ones work for the brute funer. So that's probably the best thing I would recommend, is going and looking at that, looking at the sharpeners that I recommended and just seeing if they actually tick that box for square pencils. That's probably the easiest option. Here's one where I finally colored in the page. So I've used markers here. Now this one, I believe I used alcohol markers because you can see it has gone through the back. So I don't generally recommend using alcohol markers in any kind of coloring book or planner unless you are willing to sacrifice the page on the back, which you can actually get because these borders are all, as you can see, the border's like a perfect match. So you could actually get creative and embrace that and work with that. And do something different on the back, embracing those lines, or you would usually just stay away from alcohol markers. I was just using this as a quick example, and that's what I had on hand. In a few minutes, I will talk through some of the markers that I do recommend for planners that do work in the new planner as well. But this is another option where I've colored the background and then I've used the same colors. I've actually started with the sticker pack and then worked backwards. So I started with the sticker pack, used those colors, found matching colors then in these other things. So the whole thing is color coordinated. And I think the color coordination is probably one of the keys to making your planner pages look good. And that, if you could get the colors right, everything else, it sort of doesn't matter so much because the colors kind of bring it all together. And that's, I think, one of the biggest keys with this is whatever you do, work out your color scheme before you start. And that's where, like, if you have the color catalog, or even if you just find some color inspiration or Pinterest, or if you have highlighters, or if you have a sticker set that you've already got, and a lot of sticker sets come with a color palette pre-designed, you can use that as your guide and then work around that. So I think that's it. Oh, there might be one more. Oh, this is just a little bonus hack, which if you've watched, I do have a few planner videos on my channel. This was one I included in one of those planner videos where I've actually used the, no, this isn't from the printable planner. This is from something else. This is a bonus printable, I think from my Christmas pack. No, this is from the updated Christmas pack I haven't even released yet. Ooh. Okay, well, this is what you can do with a printable planner is you could actually add on a page. I've just used some washi tape here and added on, so you can add on your own lists and things to create planners inside planners. I think a better example of that is actually a few pages back. Here we go, where I've printed the contacts page here, and I've printed the one from the printable planner without the frame, cut it out, and then you've got a bigger contacts page. So that's just a little planner hack that's kind of handy to have, and that's a good thing if you did buy the bundle of this, or if you have like printables that you've got from Etsy or from Pinterest or from somewhere else or from like planner blogs, and you want to put them in your actual planner, you can just do little fold outs like that. All this is a bit of tape down the side, and then you can put whatever you want on top, stickers, a picture, something else, and you've now doubled your space.
Someone's asked if you can get the color catalog in book form.
Not at the moment. It is something that we'd like to do, but just the cost of printing it isn't really viable at the moment. Yeah, by the time we do the printing costs at the moment, we'd be looking at having to put the price up to like $90, and I just don't want to do that to you guys. So it's something we're still exploring. I know it's been very highly requested. It's something we'll keep looking at, and maybe one day, but not yet. I think I have one more example in this one. This is probably one of my favorites, actually. This one I did spend a lot of time on, as I'm sure you can imagine. This page started, let me show you the new version. It started very similar to what you see in each year. Let me flip to it. This is my goal spread. Here we go. So this is what it actually looked like, at the start. It started quite plain. The only difference was the outside artwork. Instead of being the triangles, was the flowers. So you can see those here. It was this artwork. Okay. So to get to this, what I've done is I've actually, I've colored the background using just pencils. I then used a gold glitter gel pen to just color some of these, but I've actually left a lot of white as well, which also speeds up the time. But then I kind of did a lot of this using some tracing paper that I put on top first to kind of just plan it out. but I filled this middle section with some washi tape underneath, and then I pretty much just laid it with stickers. Stickers is the key to decorating like this. So this set of stickers here, I've got a few different functional stickers hiding underneath. And then I've got, again, from that motivational set, a couple of the gold stickers. But these stickers here are actually a set. I think this was the 2020 planner. So there are still, this is from the 2020 set of stickers. And in fact, I think there are still some of those on my website. Here they are. So this was the set of stickers that I used. And so I've just used these cogs and I've actually put them together and then colored some of them in with that same glitter pen as the background. And by putting them together, it's created this scene. I've drawn a few little extra bits and that's how it's all come together. Same here by overlapping some of them with the background. It really makes it look like the whole thing is just designed together. One of the great things about using these sticker sets with this planner is that all the lines are actually the same width. So it looks like it's designed as the one thing. You can't even at a glance tell that they're stickers, and that's not. So, but that's it for past inspiration. I think I did start one or two in here. Oh, I have.
While you're opening that, we have another super chat from Anne Elmo, who said, "Happy day all. Can't think of any questions yet, so chipper Cheerios."
Ah, we always see an Elmo. I don't know what Anne Elmo's real name is, or if that is Anne Elmo's real name. I'm not sure, but I see your comments on almost every one of my videos and I love them. I love the sign off, Chipper Cheerios. I love it. I see it all the time. So now we are heading into our 2022 planner. I will show you one or two more things and then we will get started actually making a planner layout because that's what I want to show you. I want to work through one together. So if any of those planner layouts caught your eye and you want to sort of ask any questions, do so. Otherwise, I will just keep going. So in this one here, these are some of the designs in the 2022 planner. Like I said, it's hardcover, so it's a little bit more fancy than the past years. So we've got our January option here. I'll let you pick with me in a second which one we want to work on maybe. Or I'll just pick one that I want to do.
Now, there are lots of different questions, and I haven't been able to get to everyone. So
there are a lot, okay.
If Sarah hasn't answered your question, maybe once the stream's finished, you can
head to the Facebook group, maybe.
Either head to the Facebook group or comment on the video when it goes up, and we can do a bit of a comment on that.
Yeah, look, I am actually pretty active in the comments. So if I don't get, like Shane just said, if I don't get a chance to answer live, the live comments, I'm not really sure where they go once the stream goes up on the channel.
They might disappear.
Yeah, they might. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to see them later, possibly. But the best thing is to actually then go back on the replay video when it goes up and leave a new comment there with your question. I will come back and try to answer them. I know I missed some of them, but I generally catch, I think, probably 90% of the questions and we'll try and answer them. And so I'll come back this afternoon, my time, and try to get through some of those other questions too. So looking at our new pages here, this is one that I have done. This is from April. So our April theme for this year is a butterfly theme. And so in the sticker book here, I do actually have a sticker page where I have included some butterflies that you can use here. So I've actually taken this page. Now I have tried to leave a little bit more space for planning on this one, so I've tried to keep that in mind. But what I've basically done, I think you can kind of see the idea here, is I've taken just a flow of butterflies up here. I like to overlap them a little bit with the background because then it feels like it's a bit more intentional rather than just sticking within the boxes. So I've gone straight over the edge with this bottom one. I've picked some bigger ones at the bottom and tried to sort of taper them up. And then on this side, I've done a few less and just scattered a few around, trying to keep enough space for planning. Now, I'm not sure if I would come back and color this page later. It probably depends on how I feel, but I actually just like this as is. If I were to color it, I'd pick just a couple of colors and just maybe add some touches of color here or there, or maybe just outline a few of the butterflies. I'm not really sure, but that gives you a starting point of an example of how you could lay out the coloring stickers to match the page. Now, obviously, if you don't have the coloring planner, you can still use stickers like this in this kind of arrangement. You could even use like the printable file and print your own And you could even scale them up or down if you want smaller or bigger butterflies to create similar effects like this. So that's just one idea. You can also draw, if you're feeling adventurous, you could also draw something like this in your planner or your bullet journal and just try to draw little elements like this around a page. So there are other options even if you don't have the planner. Moving further ahead, we have this theme here. So we're now in May. And I have done a few little bits in May. So here I've just taken this section, which I think underneath this, what was this? Was it goals section? I can't even see, I covered it up. But I decided this time I was going to not use this section in this month and just create like a little decorative piece. So I've taken again the stickers, which I think are the first page here. Yep. And I've put them just here and scattered some around. Again, just sort of overlapping different areas. And then I think I did another spread a little bit further in with the same thing. Here we go. So this one is a lot more minimal, but again, it's just working in the corner. I actually really love the idea of overlapping stuff from the corner because it really brings that border into the page. So this is an effect that I really, really like. It's simple, but it just brings it in. And then here, just in the middle of the page. That is a really, really simple way to use the stickers just to decorate a page. And I think it looks really nice. And again, if you didn't have the border, if it was just a plain journal, they can still frame that page really, really nicely. Whether or not you color them, that's up to you. What else have we got here? These are just the ones I've already done. We are going to do some today, I promise. Another example here, we have our clouds and our sky. So I've just picked a strip in the middle because I've got the 4 sections. I figure 3 will do me. So I'll use morning, middle of the day and night, for example. And then I can use this one in the middle for something decorative. So that has become my clouds, and that gives me an easy boundary and it still gives me heaps of space to plan. But I think that is it for my planning stuff. So I think we should pick a page. Okay, so while I'm thinking through a page, Shane, what else have you got in questions?
Poetry Guy has asked more of a YouTuber question, not an art question, but what's been the biggest change in your content since you started doing YouTube?
Probably the pace, I would say. If you watch a lot of my earlier videos, we didn't cut much out. We left a lot in. It would be more like what this live stream is, for example. Whereas if you watch our later videos, we cut them quite small. In fact, Shane is going through the process at the moment of watching some of our older videos and shortening them for Facebook. And he's able to cut a 40-minute video down to about 8 minutes just by making the kind of cuts that we would now make for YouTube. It's amazing the difference that makes. So that's probably the biggest difference we've made, is just cutting out a lot of dead talking. The kind of stuff I'm saying now would probably just get cut. That's, yep, the pace. I'm feeling like sugar. What do we think, guys? Any objections?
I don't see any objection.
I don't know if there's a delay. You know what? I actually think that this is a good page because not only do I have my sticker book here, I also have some that I've already printed on the Cricut yesterday.
Leslie's asked if she can order an older planner. Not sure if she means like last
previous years.
Or...
I don't think we have any stock left. We did run out last year.
No, unless like Leslie's in Australia, we might have one somewhere. But
maybe.
Otherwise, it would cost an absolute bomb to send that overseas.
That noise has really ramped up, hasn't it? Okay, so these are an example of what I did with the Cricut. So next week's video is actually going to be me showing you exactly how to do these because I've had a lot of questions on how to use the Cricut or the Silhouette to make stickers. So I did this for next week's video. So we're doing a little bit of a flashback in time. It's a bit weird. So next week you'll see me cut these out and then we can come back and use them today. So I've got these stickers and I've got my actual stickers, which are in the book here somewhere. I know that there are definitely, I've got some mini donuts on this page, but I reckon there's some bigger donuts throughout as well.
Holly's Creations is heading off and she said bye.
Thank you, Holly, for joining us. It's nice to finally have a little chat. after all the times you've been popping in on the videos. Okay, so we have some macarons up here.
Was it hard to create those stickers and planners?
It took a few months. Look, there are definitely easier ways to create stickers, and I will talk about that briefly in next week's video. But because I want to really make sure these are like a really professional product, I spend a lot more time and I use like professional software to do them. So like these are professionally manufactured. I don't print these with my Cricut. So there is a few more steps involved than what, like you can actually create a sticker shop at home. And I have a friend who has a course about that, which I'll be talking about next week, so that you can actually learn to make stickers, sell them on Etsy, like you probably see a lot of shops do. But in order to get these kind of things printed, it's a few extra steps, and it probably does take a bit of design knowledge. So it's not something I'd recommend for the average person, but doing them yourself in this regard is not that hard. I will show you a few things next week. You can actually even take your own drawings, and if you've got a cutting machine, you can even turn your own drawings into stickers. And it's actually fairly easy once you sort of learn the basics of how to do it. Now, the only hesitation I have here with using these is that my sticker paper that I've bought is a different color to my planner, whereas the sticker paper that these are printed on is almost the same. I don't know how much that matters, but I'm just feeling a little bit particular today. So I might use these stickers. It doesn't matter, I'll use these. So, how do we approach a page? Now this is almost like that, what do you call it? Creative block. This is the moment that I get creative block, even though I've got a lot of creative stuff in front of me, and I know a lot of you experience this. So there are a few different places that I would start here, and there are different options and to be honest, I change my approach depending on the day. All those different pages that you've seen, I've started the approach in a different way, but there are a few different approaches that you can take. First of all, if you are someone who has a lot that fits in your schedule, the first thing you probably want to do is actually think about how much space you need to take up with your schedule and kind of block that out first. So one way that you can do that, and I didn't even think to bring them out, is to use some sticky notes. I don't even know if I have any sticky notes here. I usually do. I do have these clear sticky notes actually from Chasing Planner Piece. So these can be really handy to use because you can take them on or off. You can use that, write some stuff on it, and then just take it off. Whoops, I've just ripped my page. Don't do that. So you can use the clip. They don't usually rip the paper. I've just been really rough in that moment. I'm sorry. Bad example. So you can use the clear sticky notes, or you could use just yellow sticky notes to help you kind of plot out what you want, or just make a list next to you of the kind of things that you want to include. The other thing that I personally like to do, because I'm just wired this way, is to work out my colors first. We've already kind of got a theme because I'm working with the theme already on the page. If you're starting from scratch, your first step might be to look through the sticker collections you have and pick a topic, pick a theme. If you're stuck, you might look on Pinterest or look on YouTube videos like this to find some inspiration, just to get an idea of where to start, what you're kind of aiming for. So when it comes to color inspiration, you can look on Pinterest, you can look on Instagram. I have an Instagram account called The Color Catalog where I have a lot of those pictures from the Color Catalog that you can look at. If you actually have the Color Catalog, which I have here, hopefully my iPad's charged now, where you can get color inspiration from that. So I will grab that. I'm just going to grab a drink. And Shane, do we have any more questions while I do that?
Now, Unknown Ragdoll has asked, what mediums have you tried and what do you hope to try in the future?
Pretty much what I've tried is on my channel, because pretty much that's a summary of what I've tried, because as much as I would love to say I'm always creative and I do creative things all the time, I actually don't get as much time to be creative as I'd like. So most of the creative stuff that I do ends up being on this channel. I would really like to get into paints because that's something that I feel like I have no idea of. I've actually bought some paints. I've bought alcohol paints, which I have used once or twice. I've created some artwork for our house, and I've bought acrylic paints and gouache, and I've got some watercolors, and they're all the things that I haven't tried and that I feel really out of my depth with and almost a little bit intimidated by, but that I really want to have a go at. So I'm sure there'll be a video this year of me trying to figure those out, because I am all for learning with you guys. I found that when I have tried to learn stuff on camera with you guys, I actually get really helpful feedback. And so it's a great learning experience, or at least entertainment watching me fail for you. And it's a great learning experience for me, and it's a great excuse for me to step out of my comfort zone. Maybe the added pressure of doing it in front of people actually just pushes me into gear and actually gets me to use things. So it's, yeah. Now,
just a couple of quick things.
Yeah.
Diane has left a super chat, so thank you so much, Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
Lissa's Letters has asked, when will Shane be appearing in your videos? Probably never.
Probably not today, unless he's feeling up to it.
No.
He probably wants a haircut first.
And,
Hi, Lisa, by the way.
and Rose has asked, what brand of colour pencils did you start with?
I started with... So my first set of coloured pencils was actually the small set of 12 or whatever polychromos that... Well, okay, so when I was a kid, we had that Derwent set that was my mum's. But as an adult, my first set was only 4 or 5 years ago, and that was the small set of polychromos that my mum purchased for me for my birthday. But then a few months later, or at the same birthday, or was it Christmas, maybe, Shane then bought for me the full set of Prismacolor. And that's the only set then that I owned pretty much until the start of last year. The start of last year, or a little bit before that, when I started the YouTube channel, is when I've bought everything else. Before then, I only owned the Prismacolor and the few polychromos, I think.
So you can start off with not a whole lot.
Yeah, you don't need much to start. One set is definitely enough. I only buy the rest because I do them for reviews. I definitely wouldn't own all these pencils if it wasn't for this YouTube channel. So don't look at me and my collection as a reason that you need to buy more supplies, because you do not need these supplies if you're not doing it for other people. It's not necessary. Absolutely not.
Diane has also asked if you will consider teaching a class on Skillshare.
I've had a few people suggest that. At the moment, I really just want to put all of my attention into you guys on YouTube. And so I feel like putting myself on Skillshare as well is just going to be splitting my attention further, especially because we already have products somewhere on YouTube. But look, I mean, I never want to rule anything out for the future. Who knows? Let's jump in. I've got SMSs coming into my iPad. Awkward. I just realized I've got the digital planner here. I was going for the color catalog, but just if anyone's curious, this is the digital planner. As you can see, it's actually like the full, but I won't go too much into this because you can see this in my actual planner intro video. This is the digital planner. It's like the same, but on the iPad. So that's cool. This is in GoodNotes, and you can use the navigation. I haven't opened this for a while, so we've got all the same pages. So here we have our August page. And as you can see, it's all essentially the same. Here we have the exact same page that we have here. So it's like a mini version on your iPad of this. So that's just something for a bit of fun. But I'm actually going to the color catalog. So in our color catalog here, we can browse by keywords or collections. I am going to go keywords because I'm pretty sure here there is a keyword to do with food. In fact, there's a keyword for sweets. That feels like a good fit. So this is where I go for all my color inspiration, partly because I've made this so it makes sense to use it, but also because I just find it to be far more convenient because it's on here all ready to go. So the easiest way to do this is to just jump in and have a look. Now, as much as I've got the sweet section here, my eyes are instantly drawn to some of these up in the sunset section. So you never know where you'll find inspiration. I have to admit, this is actually one of my favorite color palettes in this guide. I've used it a few times on this channel already. I just really like this combination. I'm leaning towards that for this. But the other way that you can search, which is probably the way that I use the most, is actually to flip to the next page here and you can see them all. So this is volume 2, and I really like some of the ones in volume 2. Probably, if I'm being honest, a little bit more than volume 1, just because it's newer. So that appeals to me more because having made it, I've looked at these things 100 times. So it's just nice for me to see the newer ones. However, I think actually volume 1 might have some better ones for food. What colors are we thinking, everyone? Pop your favorite color in the comments. We'll see if we get some good suggestions, and I might even use that as a bit of a reference. Otherwise, I'm going to go hunting for a color palette. I've got the color catalog 1 here as well. Let's have a look what we've got. Though I don't think this is the updated one. No. I've updated this now to match the other color catalog so that you can do the same thing and flip and have a look at them all. This has got a nice food selection here. Look at this. This is kind of a cool combination.
Got purple, pink, orange, purple, purple, red and orange, red, green, blue, purple, pink, purple. I think purple's
okay. All right, we're going to have to find something with purple.
Teal?
Well, yes, teal is my favourite colour, but I'm trying to branch out here and just embrace some other people. I mean, I keep coming back to this one. It's not purple, but it's not purple. It's not purple at all. What am I talking about? It's kind of purplish, but it's not. But I do like, because remember, we're looking at food here. Is purple really an appropriate colour for this? The reason I'm drawn to, maybe it's because it's got the macarons in it that I'm looking at it, and this has got the macarons in it. Maybe we just go for bright colours. Is there a bright section? I think there was, or is that in the other one? Bright. Bright, here we go. Bright colours. I probably spend a lot of time picking my colour palette first, because I do feel like once you get the colours right, everything else kind of just works if you get some good colours. Like, I really like this colour palette as well. This is another one of my favourites. And we could use this, and we can always bring in a couple more colours. For example, our donuts probably need to have either a chocolate or a vanilla base to them. So that doesn't work with these colours. But use this for our decorative stuff, like our toppings and our icing and stuff like that. So that's what these colours would be, and this would be your main colour that carries through. And then any colours that need to be realistic, like your waffles and the waffle cones and the chocolate bits, they would then bring in those other colours. I think I might go for this colour. You know what's actually kind of funny is that these colours kind of match my highlighters here. A little bit, almost. Look at that. Oh, almost, look at that. Almost perfect. All right, we're going to do this. I don't know if I'll use the highlighters, but it's good to have. Whoops. So this is our color inspiration. And then we have our stickers. Take our post-it note off. So what I'm going to do now that I've got that is work out how I'm going to lay this out. Now, what I like to do is grab a pencil, a grey lead, and actually just think about what space I need and what space I want. And I like to think of things in big shapes and create some basic guides. Now, eventually you can learn to do this in your head, but when you first start out, it definitely helps to just have a grey lead or something to give yourself a visual guide of where to put things. So generally, as you've seen with those other ones that we did, I like to cluster things. If you just put stickers everywhere, it can just look like a big jumbled mess. So by putting like those butterflies together in a line, it looks a bit more like it's intended to be like that, like a picture. So that's the reason that I have this pen. So big shapes like circles or lines or squares, all those kind of shapes, if you create the shape first, and you can pretty much pick any shape, and then putting your stickers around that shape is a really good way to create some kind of design format. I don't know how to word that, but hopefully you understand what I mean as we come together. So I'm thinking for this, we've got food, and I'm thinking we want to create like just this feeling of just a lot of dessert available. So what we might do is actually just use the bottom section. I think that works. So if we think of it like as a mountain of food. So with my pencil, now this is a pencil, not a pen, I hope, yes. I would just kind of create like a mountain of food. So just like a wiggly lump of food. I might even cover this up. I'm not going to use this for this time. So that is all I need for a guide here. And so then I know with my stickers, we're getting a little bit higher in the middle, a little bit off to the side, and I'll just kind of cover up this lower section. The next thing you want to decide is if you are going to do layers or if you're just going to go in with your top stickers, because obviously with stickers, you put this down, you can't then put something underneath. So for this one, we might just go with straight into our planner stickers that match the background. And then in another example, I might show you an example of how we can layer some different colors underneath, work with some washi tape and stuff like that. The only example here where I might consider covering things up is if I wanted to cover up the words, because these sections are not necessarily going to be usable if I'm covering them with stickers, but that's something we can probably do with some of the larger stickers anyway. So I'm not too worried about that. Now, because I'm doing these as a pile, I do need to think about the order that I put the stickers on. So, because if I just start in the middle and then stack them around, they're going to sit on top of each other in a funny way. So I think the best thing to do is probably to start at the top and work our way down so that the stickers overlap. Have I lost you yet? Are we making sense? So I'm not going to overthink this too much. We're just going to go for it.
While you're doing that, what's your favourite art supply?
That's a hard question. Probably pencils, but I like using other things. I don't like being limited to one supply, so.
I think can I guess?
Yeah.
Would I say markers and pencils together?
I do like markers and pencils together, yeah. I'm gonna put this one right in the middle. So see, this line is really just my guide. I've actually put them a bit higher. If you're gonna put them a bit lower, you might want to rub the line out as you go. Otherwise you'll see it underneath. But because I'm putting them a bit higher, I sort of don't even need to do that. Now, I actually have no idea at this point if this is gonna look good by the time we're done, but we're just experimenting and embracing it. And that's pretty much what I do. I just make things up as I go along. And sometimes it doesn't work. Most of the time it turns out okay. That's really all you can hope for, isn't it? Just that it doesn't look terrible. That's the thing about being creative. I think sometimes we get so afraid that things aren't going to be perfect that we end up paralyzed and we just don't start. I think I'd rather start and be not 100% happy when it's done than just sit here with this creative block for the next hour and just not do anything. So sometimes you've just got to take a risk and just start. And you know what? If it doesn't turn out amazing, that's okay. I'm sure that someone out there will look at that and go, wow, I wish I could do that. Wow, that's really creative. I think it's really easy to look at our own stuff sometimes and be a really harsh critic of our own stuff because we are the ones that did it. We always look at other people's stuff through a different eye that we look through our own stuff. And that's something you have to keep in mind. Sometimes you need to stop and think, if someone else did this, would I like it more? Maybe that's the key. So what I'm trying to do here is just hide any gaps, but overlap these enough that you can see a bit of each sticker. So it looks like a big pile up of food. And as you can see, because I started with the top ones, as I come forward, it looks like the food is in front of the food at the back. Hopefully that makes sense. So it'll look like a big platter of food by the end. This is where, because I'm overlapping the stickers, there's a lot of stickers that are being hidden in the back. So you might not want to waste your proper sticker book, and that's where the printable stickers are really good because you kind of don't feel as bad about using a huge amount of them as opposed to like the stickers that you've paid more money for. But I mean, at the end of the day, they are made to be used. So whatever that looks like, I think you just got to not, like, there is no waste if it's being used.
So a few people have asked what my favourite art supply is and if I like doing art. My creativity is probably more in a technical video editing, camera work sort of thing. So I would say that my favourite art supply is a video camera.
That was a good answer. I'm glad you didn't just say you're not a creative person because that's a lie. Anyone who's watched my channel enough knows that I don't like people saying they're not creative people because I do believe that everyone is creative. It's just that some of us haven't worked out what that looks like yet. And it is different for everyone. You don't have to be an artist to be creative. All right, we're getting somewhere. And look, the more this is happening, the more I'm going, okay, I'm happy with this decision. It always starts and I'm like, am I going to regret this? And the catch with the live stream is it's not like I can just go start again and pretend that I knew what I was doing the first time. It's you see it. So if this looks terrible, there's no turning back. In saying that, it's very rare on my channel for me to actually turn back and try again. You usually see all my fails. I'm pretty open about that. I don't think it helps to pretend that I'm perfect.
Well, I think even when you have started again, we've kept it in the video.
It's true. I'm not really sure what to do about this last bit though. I sort of feel like I don't want to keep going until the end of the page. So what so this presents me with a challenge now. How do I figure this out? Let's think of some. All right, my creative friends, brainstorm with me. How do we cover this off? What can we do? Do we just keep going? Do we have the food explode off the page and then cut the page? Do we use some washi tape to frame it off at the bottom border here? I need my brainstorming crew. Put them to work, Shane. I need your ideas. How would you finish off this page? Because if we're going to do this live stream together, then we can do it together.
Dakota has asked if you like anime.
Anime?
Anime. Yes, that.
Clearly we don't watch much anime in our house. I haven't really spent a lot of time looking at anime, so I don't really have an answer for that. I haven't really given it enough thought.
Got a few suggestions. Make the bottom line of the thankful section as your plate or a table under the food.
Yep.
Mia's suggested that you washi tape the border off. Go to the edge of the page.
The one thing with the edge of the page is that that's a lot more stickers to get there. So that we're aware of the cost involved in this decision.
Or cutting the edge of the stickers to line up with the border.
To line up with that. We could do that. We could very carefully do that with a knife. In fact, what we could do, let me think ahead here. If I've got a bit of washi tape that I'm probably not going to use, like whatever this is. Art time. Teddy bear art time. No, let's find another one. I need to find a washi tape that's going to not stick too hard. I have a plan. I have a plan, guys. Okay. If you need this to not stick permanently, I've now learnt you put it on your clothes because then it picks up some of the what do you call it?
Cat fur.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's on my clothes, let's be honest. And then it won't be as sticky. So now it becomes temporary tape. So what we're going to do is we're going to section. I could actually section off here, that way I don't need as many stickers. So we can actually keep this bottom section. I wonder if I can get these stickers back up though, that's the question. No, that's going to rip. Okay, so we're going to go down to the bottom. See, I didn't plan far enough ahead. Okay, so this is our temporary border. So any stickers that go over that edge at the end, I'm going to get a little knife and we're going to trim them and then we can just take that tape off. And because I've got the tape as a barrier, when I trim it, I'm less likely to accidentally cut the page. At least that's the plan. We'll see how we go. Now, this just highlights this method does take a lot of stickers because that's my page of stickers and that's how many is left. So again, that's probably where printable stickers are probably better if you're going to layer them heavily like this. But, I mean, at the end of the day, stickers are meant to be used. I very much, when I was a kid, so we didn't have a whole lot of money, but I grew up and at school you got stickers when you get awards, and like when you're a high achiever at school, you got stickers. You got a sticker book and you fill it out. And then when you go places, you get the promotional stickers, you know. Anyway, as a kid, you collect stickers. I was the kid that never used the stickers because they were precious. They were like gold. And I didn't dare use up any of those stickers because one day they would be special and I would save them for the perfect project. And then when I was about 20 years old, I found all those stickers that I saved and they weren't sticky anymore. And half of them were just promotional stickers that were just like, why would you even want them? So use your stickers. Children, use your sticker. And it's funny because now that we have kids, we give our kids a sticker book and they like use all the stickers on the first day that they get the sticker book and just put them all on like one piece of paper. Look at the art I did. And the child in me just sits there like cringing like, don't use all the stickers, save the stickers. And then I remind myself, actually, maybe they've got it right.
What's the hardest YouTube video you've ever made?
That's probably more a question for Shane because he does a lot more work than people realize on these videos.
It depends if
is it a question for
if
Shane
you're
or a question
asking
for
about
me? Is the question.
The art or the editing of it, I
yeah,
guess.
that's true because some of the videos are a lot more work in drawing and doing, and other videos are a lot more work in the editing process. So, well, let's answer both. Shane, what would you say would be the hardest in the editing process? All right, I'm going to move to the second page of stickers for this one little gap.
I might need a minute to think about it.
Yeah. In terms of the art, I'm actually going to say the hardest one was the one that I failed. And I know people might say that it's not a fail, and that's fine. That's like, sure. But when I did the Thomas Kincaid one that I was really disappointed with, that was actually, to put it in context, also the week that we had 2 weeks of quarantine at home with a teething 2-year-old. So it was a very difficult week for us. And so to be trying to get out a video in a short time frame with 2 kids at home and to have it not go to plan to the degree that it didn't go to plan, and to not be able to go to any shops or anything to buy more supplies, to even test things out, and that, like, to not be able to sort of start over and just, I didn't have time to just have another go. I was actually genuinely in tears over that one. What everyone saw on the video was a very toned down version, and I know a few people thought that I was a bit of a drama queen, but I think that's the reality of some of this stuff, is there's a whole lot of extra pressure sometimes that people don't see. And we try and talk through it all. Like, I know my last video I talked a lot about the failure of the past year and what that felt like. And some people were concerned that I was probably putting too much into it, more into it than I should. And I think, you know, we don't see the year as a failure. That's not what that video was about. But it's very hard to summarize a year full of emotions and what that means in a 10-minute video. So it's easy to be misinterpreted. But there are definitely moments, and that video that I put up saying fail on the thumbnail was a big example of one that was a very difficult week for me. And I find it really hard to watch that video because it was a very big summary of me, of how I felt that week. So that was a hard video to make for that reason. Not because the project itself was hard, but for that reason. So what I'm going to do now, so that we can see where we're at, is I am going to trim all of these along that line. So I'm hoping, let's just do a little test run, that we can pull these up where that tape is. So if I cut them there, hopefully that gives us a nice straight line and we're done. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to put my ruler here, and I'm going to very lightly use my knife. So I think I need a new knife. This is a bit blunt now, but don't chop your finger off on a live stream, Sarah. All right. That'll work. Oh, look at that. Nailed it. Nope.
Knuckle Sandwich has done a super chat, so thank you very much, and asked if you have any tips on starting an art YouTube channel, and what do you not like to see on art channels, and would you be doing any Aussie pop culture conventions in the future?
Aussie pop culture conventions. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think we really have any at the moment with all the different things happening. But what's your tips on starting a YouTube channel?
I think, first of all, just start. I think a lot of the time the hardest thing in starting a channel is in trying to make everything perfect and trying to, especially when you compare yourself to people that have been doing it for longer. Even when we started, we actually do have a bit of experience and we have been doing Facebook live videos, just even in our closed groups for a lot longer. And so a lot of people compare to how we started and think that's how you should start. People look at the equipment we have and think that's what you need to start a YouTube channel. And that's not true. You don't. You can start with just an iPhone camera. So I think the biggest thing is just get started.
I think what you could do on that is go to some of the big YouTubers like Dude Perfect and Mr. Beast and arrange it by their oldest video and look at some of their first ones for a bit of
if you want to feel
encouragement.
Better, if you want to feel better about how the quality of your first videos, take some of the YouTubers that you admire and watch their first videos. If they still exist, some of them delete them, but most of them keep them up there. And you might be surprised at how they started. Some of them start very, very simple and how much they've changed from that to what they are now. But I think the biggest thing is, like, in the art community on YouTube is actually amazing. And one thing that I found is key to actually doing well in the art community is actually just connecting with people. So reply to your comments, get involved, talk to people, even get involved with other artists like you're doing, being a part of my stream right now. Actually just be involved with other people in the community. Don't expect anything from other people, but just give to other people, support them, support their art channels as well. And you'll find that the art community is actually very, very welcoming to new people coming along, as long as you're not just there to try and just get a shout out from people. That's not really the right way to go about it. But yeah, I hope that helps a little bit. I think we are done on this page. What do we think, guys? Looks like a pretty big pile up of food. This is probably not the good encouraging page if you're trying to go on a healthy month, but definitely looks enticing, doesn't it? Maybe this is a good page for your birthday month.
Well, that actually is the week of my birthday, so...
Oh, there you go.
Party.
Pig it out on Shane's birthday. Well, maybe that's what we can do for this spread. We can turn it into Shane's birthday. Do you actually want people to know when your birthday is? Do you want me to pick a fake day? They've got it down to 4 days now, Shane. You've done that.
I think we can just go with the real date.
So the question is now, well, what I might do, I might leave this second page so that we can not waste, because you've seen how we've done that. I'm not going to repeat that because I don't want to take up your time. So what would you guys like me to do? Would you like me to show you a completely different page, or do you want to keep working on this page and see if we can bring some color? What do you think?
While we're waiting for people to say what they think,
Yeah.
Poetry Guide, the hardest video for me, there was one early in July or mid-July, which was about 20 hours of footage that we had to edit down to 20 minutes in a couple of days. That was probably, and it was probably the first time we had to do that.
I was going to say, that's most of our videos,
I think that was the first time, and that was just really difficult. But I guess that's a lot easier now, but back then that was a real challenge.
It's the first time you had to do it. Yeah. To put it into context, most of the drawings that I do take between 10 to 15 hours for Shane, and that's not including intros, outros, all of the other shots that we get. Every time that camera changes, it's a different angle, it's a different thing. Shane does a lot of work behind the scenes to get that together, especially when you're talking about 20 hours of footage down to what is now usually like a 15-minute video. It takes a full day just to cut out every time I take my hand off the paper, because he wants to really just eliminate everything you don't have to see. So there's a lot of editing that happens behind the scenes, and he works really, really hard to bring you guys a good video. So
now,
watch
I think
them till the end to make it worth his while. Yeah.
Almost everyone has said that they want you to colour it.
Okay, all right.
And someone has actually asked what the biggest, is it the biggest artwork or biggest colouring biggest size artwork you've ever done?
I haven't gone that big. Actually,
Well, Jazz's channel, when you did a collab
that's
with
true.
him,
That's
that was
true.
pretty big.
I did a giant colouring page with Jazza on Jazz's channel. That was pretty cool. So if you look on my channel and find a picture of Jazza in my thumbnails, that's the video.
That's where to start.
That's where to start. Okay, so we've got our colours. Now, as we're talking about colours, this is probably a good chance to talk through some of the recommendations that I have for supplies that work in the colouring planner for those of you who have the colouring planner, because it is a frequently asked question. And I'm also aware that we have been doing the stream for a while, so I think this will probably be the only page we're going to have a chance to work on today, just so that we're clear, but I will talk through and answer any other questions if we have them as we go. I've actually done a little test page at the back of this to make this easier and quick. Let's skip to the back.
While you're skipping, Shane, what is your job? Same answer as Sarah, this.
Sarah's assistant. No.
I was before this, I worked as a IT administrator or manager for a company, and this is about the first year that we've both been working on what is a lot of YouTube, but Sarah's business overall for a full year, full time. So short answer is this is my job.
Yeah. YouTubers, it's a bit more complicated than that. We do a lot with these products and stuff and the colouring books, and there's a lot more to it, but in the shortest possible way, we are both YouTubers now. So these are some of the markers that I have used in the colouring planner. I know that some of you that have bought it have been a little bit I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but the paper is a little bit thinner than I was hoping it would be. It is fairly similar to what it has been the last few years. I was hoping that this year would be more of an upgrade, but there's a little bit of a mix up with that communication with my manufacturer. So the thickness is what I was expecting, but the brand changed somehow between the sample and the actual. Only very, very slightly, mind you. So you can still use markers in this. You can see there, I've used markers and they're not bleeding through except for one or two just up the top here. But it is something that next year, I've already asked the manufacturer to send me all their samples, and I've even gone back to them and gone, those samples aren't good enough, get better ones, because I want to make sure that next year's planner is like really, really good. Now, I don't know how thick I can make this paper before this planner is just, because I mean, this thing is already a very chunky planner, right? So I don't know how thick we can make this paper, but I do want to do my best to make this just a really nice planner with the focus on being able to color it well. So I don't expect to ever be able to use alcohol markers in this, and I need you guys to be okay with that, because alcohol markers do not work on any paper, and that's the same with any coloring book you get. If you want alcohol markers not to bleed, you need bleed-proof paper, and you need to go one-sided. We ain't going to be doing a one-sided planner, or it's going to be double this size. So
what's some of the brands of alcohol markers in case people don't know the difference?
So alcohol markers, I'm talking about your Copic markers. I'm talking about pretty much what you see up here. These kind of Ohuhu markers. Now, Ohuhu do have water-based markers as well, so that's a bit different. The alcohol markers are the ones that are designed to blend really, really well together, but you will notice on normal paper, they will always bleed through to the back. Sometimes they even bleed through to the next page as well. So that's something, alcohol markers are amazing. I use them a lot in coloring books, but I always put a sheet behind, and you always sacrifice the page on the back of the page. It's just the way the alcohol markers work, because they seep through paper. They won't seep through if you have paper that's thick enough, but that paper is literally 2 sheets of paper glued together in the manufacturing process. It's twice as thick at least as normal paper, or through bleed-proof paper, which isn't as good for pencils and is just a completely different printing process. So that's just to explain a little bit about the alcohol marker situation. So when it comes to other markers, we're talking about water-based markers. I do have a few options that I would personally recommend. Highlighters will work. We've also got the Tombow dual brush pens. Now, I really like these, but I do accept that they are a little bit of the pricier range. So while they are probably my favorite planner markers because they do have a small tip as well, as you can see here, I've done some writing me that can't come up with words just writes exactly what I'm doing. I'm writing fast, I'm writing slow. The good thing about these is that you can do your writing and then your colouring with the same colour, so that's really good for that colour coordination. So they've got the nice small tip on one side that's really nice to use, and they've got the brush tip on the other side. So you can even do some fancy lettering. You can do some nice, like, I haven't done lettering for such a long time, but you've got the nice brush tip to be able to do nice thin, like nice strokes like that. Anyway, get the idea. So that's your Tombow dual brush pens. Every time I say that, I say dual brush. I can't say it right.
What are you trying to say?
Dual brush. Tombow dual brush pens. Tongue twister for me. Okay, so I went and bought the biggest set of those, which is like 90 of them, because I really like them. So this is my collection. I love them as marker pens, as lettering pens. They're great in here. I've done a little bit of colouring here. These are the swatches I've done. I actually did a layer test on another piece of paper, on this paper, where I found that you could get up to about 6 layers before it would bleed. But if you're using the fine tip for the colouring, it bleeds through a lot quicker. So it's something you just have to be aware of when you're colouring. So like with this one on the back, I used the fine tip for the red here, and you can see that bled through. The other colours, I was able to do quite a bit of colouring before it started to show through. So you just got to be careful with your colouring and use light layers. And that's the same with most of the markers that you use, and the same that you would in a colouring book. Now, the other markers that I tried that are a similar thing, I've got here as well. So Arteza have, I think, what is kind of like their version of a Tombow dual brush pen, although not as nice. They have a Twee marker or a Twi marker. So this is the same thing. It's got the brush tip on the one side, which has really nice bold colors. I don't like their little pen. It is super fine, but I guess if you're wanting a super fine tip, that is actually quite good. But they are another one. As you can see, you actually can't really see that at all. If you're using these just for the border, then you're going to find that the border that you colour on the other side is going to cover up anything that does come through anyway. So that's pretty good. The only bit there I think you can see slightly is actually those darkest Tombow colours where I've done a few layers. But even there, I don't even know if you can see that on the camera. Like, it's pretty subtle.
That clock in the background, where'd you get it from?
The clock is from Venice. I went to Italy on a student exchange when I was a kid. I was about 14 or 15. And I saw that clock and I was like, wow, that's the coolest clock ever. And then I didn't buy it. And I came home and talked about it for like 5 years and was like, oh, I should have bought the clock. But it was too expensive. And yet I went and spent a whole bunch of rubbish money on postcard books and stuff like that. Came back and went, I should have just not wasted all that money. I should have just bought the one clock. Would have been the best souvenir. Anyway, managed to go back on a holiday with my family many years later. And we went to Venice and I stumbled across the same shop, saw the same clock and went, I'm not making that mistake again. I'm buying the clock. So here it is. It's handmade and it's from Venice. It's very special. So I love it. Next marker, Crayola. I have not actually used these until recently. I finally bought myself a big set. In fact, I accidentally bought 2 because I bought them on Amazon. Forgot that I bought them on Amazon because Amazon's not as quick here in Australia as it is in America. Then went into Kmart, saw them, went, oh, I've been meaning to buy them, bought them again. So our kids get a set. So I've been trying the super tips just here. They're pretty good as well. I did find here where I tried to color in and do a few more layers, a few of them did start to bleed. So that's just one of those things where you just have to be careful with your light layers. So you can see that there. So very, very slight bleeding when I've sort of put a bit more effort in, whereas the quick swatches here, no bleed at all. So again, they work. It's just about being careful and not leaving the tip on the paper for too long because it will eventually bleed through. So it's really just more about technique. The markers themselves are fine. But that's good because Crayola I think this is a sign that I need to finish this stream soon.
Those are the kind of things we've cut out. if we were not doing it live.
Well, I would say these are the kind of things that we would cut out, except that you never cut them out. You leave them all in.
Whoops.
Shane leaves them in intentionally to make me look silly.
Now that clock can tell the time, but there's no batteries in it.
Yeah.
So.
Because if we put batteries in it, it would just highlight how long our videos actually take to make. So we might as well just permanently leave it on. We should at least set it to the time that our videos come out, because then it would seem like it kept the time and that it was... We should just change it every time we do a video to confuse people. They never know what the time really is. There are other things in our background that change every video. Nobody's noticed yet, but anyway.
Little Easter egg.
Little Easter egg there for you. Someone will spot them one day. The other things I've tried, gel pens. I don't know if my gel pens are probably just drying out by now. I might need to buy a new set, but my words are getting mumbled. This is the no sleep last night from the heat and from our 2 kids jumping in our bed is catching up on me. So I think I need some water. I think, yeah, we're coming to an end.
And that donut telephone is actually
There's a video about that.
Yeah, there's a video about it, but it's an old school telephone that Sarah customised.
No, it's not plugged in, it's just got a cable. This is my telephone. So there is a video about this on my channel, about where I made this, and it doesn't work. We could actually get it plugged in. We could get, oh no, we don't have a home phone line. What am I talking about? We can't get it plugged in. I'm sure there'd be a way, but no one calls me anyway. What's the point? You call me. Shane calls me. Except that he's always here, so there's no need to call me. I do need to actually seal that phone though, because being just paint pens on it, I have noticed that when I touch it and stuff too much, some of the paint chips off. So quick tip, if you're going to use paint pens, probably should seal them. I need to get around to that. It just sits there, so it doesn't really matter. The last thing I tried, and then we'll move back to our drawing. See, I told you I get distracted during live streams. That's half the fun, guys. We have our paint pen test. Paint pens are a little bit riskier because that can vary a lot depending on how much paint you load in your pen. If you're going to use paint pens, you're probably better off using them on top of things like the stickers or washi tape on the paper rather than directly on the paper. Although I think you'd have more luck if you had a layer of pencils and then did the paint pen on top, because the pencils would also act as a little bit of a barrier. So in my test, they did seep through just a very little amount. Not all of them though. So like this red one didn't show up at all. And the black, being the darkest color, didn't show up at all as well. So I tried a few different brands, so it's also possible that the brand will have an effect. What I would suggest is actually use the back page, use the advertising page at the back as like a sample page, like what I've done, or just take one of the extra note pages at the back and use it like what I have here and just test out your pens and your markers and stuff like that. And that way you can test them on the same paper and you know what works, what doesn't. And so that way you don't end up wrecking your actual pages. That's probably the easiest way to just be safe. I think we should head back.
How long have you been doing art?
Well, in some form I've done art all my life. But in terms of like to the degree that you guys see, really only since doing YouTube. So only maybe a year and a half. I mean, I've been making colouring books for 5 years now. So I guess 5 years.
And Jada has asked if you can start colouring now, please.
Okay, Jada, hurrying me along. So we're going to find some markers now because I don't have, what don't I have? I don't have my companion here with me to tell me the colours. Even though the companion does have the Tombos, that would have been handy to have with me, but that's okay. I will just grab by eye. So this is how I do this when I'm not ready. So I've got these colours here. The colours that I'm seeing are probably a little bit different to the colours you're seeing through the camera. So just trust me on this. Plus, I'm not sure if the colours that these are actually are the colours of the lids. So we'll just test them on a piece of paper as well. We're just taking a guess first. Maybe that might be, maybe it might be that. I reckon we're more like that. And we'll go for a blue. Okay, so this is roughly the colours that we've got to work with. The other thing we need to think about is if we're going to add any other washi tape or decorations, or if we're just going to go straight into it. I'm trying to think. I might even flip this over because we can. And think about what we're going to do here. So we have a few different options. Again, this is part of live stream, is you get to watch me process and think of my ideas live. Pressure. That sound, it's my brain. I don't know how loud that is for you guys, but it's very loud here. Next door's pool is going in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually use these colors and create a little bit of a gradient. So we're going to do from our greens, and then we're going to go into our purple. I might even bring in another color just to kind of see how these kind of transition nicely, like a little rainbow. I feel like if we had just another purple here, I don't know, I do need to test these on paper actually, because I don't know that they're exactly, maybe that might work. Some scrap paper. Just to see that our colours actually work together and that they actually are the colours that they look like they are from the lids, because sometimes we can get a little surprise. That's a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. Maybe we can change to that, would be better. And there's a big jump between those colours, so we might just find another colour in between. Oh, we might just leave it like that. Okay, so there's our colours. That was a lot brighter of a pink than what our picture was, wasn't it? It's actually the purple that's different. All right, just let me have a quick look, see if we can use that better. This is why I should have got the companion. That would have been, whoa, that's, oh no, that is kind of what it looks like. Ooh, I like that actually. That's not what the picture had, but I might just add it in there. What I might do is scrap that and move to that. So it's slightly different, but it's still inspired by. This is how I adapt our colors a little bit as we go, just working on what works. But now I've got a gradient, and I love gradients, especially with the analogous colors. If you don't know what I mean by that, go watch my color theory video and you'll catch up. So I'm thinking I would like to kind of work these colors into this section. So rather than jumping straight into coloring this section that's obvious to color in, I want to try and work in our background here and the area that we're going to use for our planning. So I'm just trying to think how we can actually fit that in a way. So we could outline some sections, or we could draw some lines here that kind of, oh, I'm not really sure. This is tricky. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Again, we're making this up on the fly. So I'm going to draw some lines behind our art. Now this probably would have been easier before I put the stickers down, but that's okay. If we were to do our second page, we could resolve that on the second page. What I'm going to do is just draw a bit of a rainbow line behind our artwork here. Now, I've actually never watched a plan with me session with other YouTubers. So you'll have to tell me, do most other YouTubers that do plan with me's actually plan ahead? Or do they come in like I do and just wing it? Or do they have like something that's like really well organized and a planner spread that they know exactly what they're going to do and they teach you? Who knows? If you guys are interested in more planner videos, let me know, because this channel is a lot of colouring, obviously, but I do want to make sure we have a bit of a mix of things. So we've had a few planner idea videos in the past. In fact, we will link, once we put this replay up, I'll pop some links in the description of some of the other planner videos that I have with some different ideas. But if that's something you'd like to see, just some spread ideas like this kind of thing, we can actually create a bit of a compilation where I edit them a bit more thoughtfully don't waste all your time thinking about what colors I'm going to use.
What number pens are you using?
Okay, yep, I can tell you that. We've got our light green is 195. Our second one is 296. Then our next one is 452. Then we've got 493. Then 636, 676, and 685. So now that I've got just that simple little thing there, what I really want to do with colouring the rest of this in is just work out how to tie those colours in. So you could actually take the approach of colouring all this in realistically. That's going to take probably a couple of hours, so I'm not going to do that now. Or we can take a more simple approach and just colour around some outlines. So we do have in the background here a bit of empty space that we could actually just repeat a similar concept to this and leave the actual items white, or we could use a different colour for each item and just go over the black lines. I think that might be a fun approach. I'm going to try that. Let's do that. I don't know how it's going to look, but we're just going to embrace it. And we're just going to go for... Maybe we will mix up the colours. Oh, let's do this. Okay.
Have you tried using masking fluid in your art?
I have a whole video about using masking fluid and about how I failed using masking fluid. So if you look up, there's a video called Background Ideas on my channel. And in that video, I used a few different masking methods. And unfortunately, I didn't have a good experience with the masking fluid. I had a lot of issues with it. All right, this is probably the best way to dry your markers. Not recommended, but we're going for speed, so. Now, as usual, I love to experiment, so results are not guaranteed. You're welcome to copy this idea, or you're welcome to look at it and go, that looks terrible, Sarah. I am not going to do that. But we're just experimenting with something different. So what I'm doing here, rather than colouring in, is I'm actually just going over the line work, but with the different colours. If you're going to do something like this, I definitely recommend using a colour palette and sticking with just a few colours, because this could get out of hand really quickly if you use too many colours. I already wonder if it's probably a little bit much, but we'll see.
There's a bit of a neon feel to it.
A little bit. Yeah, I don't mind that. What do you think? What are our thoughts? Are we ruining the page, or are we making it better?
How would you turn a reference drawing into something that's 100% yours?
Oh, that's there's a lot in that question, because I'm trying to think how to answer that. The thing about using a reference image is that there are a lot of different ways to use a reference image. If you are like tracing a reference image, then it's never really going to be 100% yours. Whereas if you're like, say you're looking at 10 different pictures of a face in order to learn what an eye looks like, and then you stop and you draw an eye, then that kind of is yours. So it really depends on how much you use a reference image.
I guess the other option is when you did that 50k realism, is you could take your own reference image and then it is 100% yours.
Yeah, if you really don't want to have any issues with using a reference image and it being someone else's work, then take your own reference images. That's the best option. I mean, if your issue is that you don't want to get in trouble with copyright, there are some great websites where you can purchase licenses, or there are some great websites that have free licenses where you can use those reference images after you've downloaded them, and they actually allow commercial use as well. So that's where I get a lot of my reference images from. I choose the paid websites because I like the variety on those websites a little bit more than the free websites. And because I find that the free websites, a lot of people use the same reference images because they're free. So I like to pay the $1 or $2 just to get something original. But if you are interested in some of those links, pop your question again when we actually go to the replay of this video, and I will pop some of those links in a reply to you if you would like me to give you some of those links to those websites. All right, what are we thinking, guys? Are we liking this approach? I'm not convinced. I'm going to be honest. I'm not really sure that I like this. I'm just running with it, but I'm not sure. I wonder if I've made a bad choice here. I'm not convinced that I like the outline look. But the thing I've learned is if I don't like something, just keep going, and you can always just, like, once I've sort of done the outlines and I've done the whole page, often it actually does look better by the end. And if not, you can always find a way to save it with something else. That's sort of been my experience. At this point, I'm not thrilled. That's okay. It's okay to not love what you've done every time.
Mia has asked if you have any tips for starting art.
I think you've just got to
Start.
Yeah, a little bit. Just start trying, just start practicing. Don't worry about trying to be perfect right away. Just start somewhere. Work on, a lot of people say now, work on progress, not perfection. And I think that's actually, as much as that's very simple, that is very good advice, because it's really easy to worry about being perfect and to compare yourself to a lot of the professional artists you see out there. But a lot of the time you don't see that they've actually been drawing or doing just little even doodles in their sketchbook and stuff since they were young, and some of those don't look very good. So you just got to start somewhere. Just try and draw a little bit, even if it doesn't look amazing, and one day you'll get better. All right, so now my brain has gone into how do we salvage this mode. I'm wondering if maybe adding some colors in the middle will be a way to salvage this, whether that's with highlighters or pencils. I'm not really sure.
Cuddly Koala has said that the delivery van with her planner dropped it off 30 seconds after she found this live.
Ah, good timing. Or bad timing, that feels late, but it depends when you ordered it, I guess.
Louise has asked if you have any pencil paper recommendations.
I have a whole video of pencil paper recommendations, actually. So if you do a search on YouTube or on my channel for Sarah Renae Clark paper, I'm sure you'll find it. Oh, this is not winning me over, guys. It would be really sad to end this live with one picture that I'm not that happy with, but that would be very fitting for my channel.
There's been suggestions that you could use highlighters or pencils.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I think that's a great idea. I'll do a little bit more of this first so that we can see what we're working with, and then I think we move on to a different medium to try and sort of fill the sections. And what I'm thinking is, because we've got some rough lines, rather than colouring these sections perfectly, I might try and colour them in a bit of a rough pattern to go for a bit of a, like, mixed media arty look rather than like a colouring page look. We'll see. I'm experimenting. I'm playing. This is how we play. I think that's the important thing with something like this, is you need to give yourself permission to just play and not to expect a masterpiece every time you create something. Because the thing is, like, a lot of the stuff that I do, a lot of the best work I have comes out of experimenting with something that has like a 50-50 chance of turning out terrible or turning out good. And you know what? Sometimes things do turn out bad, but you end up learning from them. And then the next time you use that same method, you actually end up creating something amazing. So if your planner, like, not every single page of every single week of your planner has to be a masterpiece. It's okay if some of them are just a bit scrapbooky or whatever. Like, the whole point in this is to give you an opportunity to be creative regularly. So take that pressure off yourself that every page has to look amazing, and instead set the goal for yourself that I just want to be creative in some way. So for me, the goal of this page needs to be being creative with this page, not for this page to look amazing by the end. And by changing that goal, I actually completely change not just the outcome, but it means that when I'm finished, I don't have to be disappointed if this doesn't look amazing. I can instead go, okay, for one, I'm not that impressed by that technique, I won't do it again. But also two, hey, I gave it a shot. I didn't sit here paralyzed by art block, and I actually got to just sit and enjoy the process. Because as much as, like, for me, this isn't looking exciting for me yet, I am having fun here. I'm enjoying sitting here and just outlining these bits. It's kind of therapeutic, so it's fine.
There's also a few suggestions that if you made the background dark, then it would look quite neon.
It would look like neon. I actually thought the same thing. The problem is, to do that, we'd have to like really color it a lot to make the background black underneath all the neon. So I'm not sure about that. If I had a lot of time, I'd probably give that a go. Because yeah, then they would look like lots of little neon signs, and that could be really cool.
Do you play any instruments?
As a kid, I actually learnt the saxophone in school, although I haven't played for a very long time. I don't think I could even get a note out of it now if I tried. I do also play the piano, but not regularly. That's come from my mum. She had a beautiful baby grand piano that she used to play, and I used to make cubby houses underneath until she played, and it was very, very loud. So I have picked up a love for that. I don't play enough, but I do have one. Ooh, and I do like to every now and again just go and play the piano.
I haven't done one of these for a while, but
yeah.
Where has your favourite holiday been?
I do love going to Italy, like I was saying before, because I've been there a couple of times now. Sorry, I'm just going to stop for a drink. So I'm really even breaking my own rules with this a little bit by making like green edges and pink edges on a cake, because with something like this, as soon as I choose that I'm just being creative and not stressing over it, I kind of then go and break the rules, because normally I would be very particular about stuff like that, where it's like, no, I have to keep using that one color. And so for me, something like this becomes a little bit of an opportunity to let loose a bit and to just kind of relax on what would normally be my own creative rules. So in some ways, just that release of it not having to be perfect actually takes a lot more pressure off, even for me, than I would have expected. And that's taken a while to learn, I think, when I first started. And interestingly, I think if you actually went back on some of my older videos, you'd probably see the difference, that a lot of my later videos, I take more risks and I tend to worry a lot less about taking those risks than maybe what I used to. I go for it just a little bit more, or maybe we just show more of it on camera, I'm not sure. But I think for me personally, I'm definitely a little bit more fearless when it comes to just having a go with creative stuff. And that has taken a lot of learning. It's taken a lot of effort to initially push past that fear of stuffing up and that fear of making a mistake, and especially on camera, by the way, because everyone's watching. Everyone's watching going, gee, that looks terrible. Does she even know what she's doing? So, yeah. So if you thought that you felt pressure when it came to drawing and not being happy with it, imagine how I'm feeling right now where I'm colouring a waffle cone green and wondering what everyone's thinking. Yeah.
Python Chick has said that my dad always wanted to see Australia and would someday like to come out here.
Australia is beautiful.
Except for the spiders and the snakes.
Stop saying that. We keep saying that.
And the drop bears.
We have permanently scared off some people because we talk too much about all the snakes and the spiders. Oh, that's funny.
There's actually not heaps of snakes. Like,
well, the snakes will
around.
hide in the long grass. You just grew up as a kid learning not to walk in long grass and don't stick your hands in holes that you can't see. Like, that's just, is that not just common sense? I feel like that should just be common sense. Here it is.
Do you have a favourite piece to play on the piano?
Well, not really, because I don't play it enough to know any pieces that well, I guess. I like just kind of playing my own thing. I don't generally play music as much as just fiddle. Kind of like I draw. I just fiddle.
Is it true that everything in Australia is trying to kill you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, not everything.
Not everything.
Just most things.
Just all the native animals. I mean, the spider thing's a legit thing because I think I've become more aware of that in the last few weeks after telling a few people, no, we don't have that many spiders, then realising that I probably come across at least one spider every day. But most of those spiders aren't dangerous ones. But I do come across at least one spider every day. Usually they're this big. But I don't know if that's normal.
But they grow.
No, those ones are often just those little ones that never grow, so...
What's your favourite food?
What's the category? Okay. In dinners, I love Shane's spaghetti bolognese. I know that's like a standard answer, but it's pretty good.
Well, it's not standard answer because not everybody has tried my bolognese.
I do love salt and vinegar. Thus the selection of salt and vinegar that Shane has given me in my little snack drawer here. What other things do I like? I like, dessert-wise, I like things with caramel.
Caramello or Maltesers.
Or caramel, as my American friends, is that how you say it? Caramel? Caramel?
We've got a comment of, I'd love to see a full-grown huntsman spider. I wouldn't.
No, I've seen a few. I'm quite happy to
Pass.
just leave them. We found one in the kids' playroom last month. They're harmless though. They're just really big and gross. Although, in saying that, a full-grown one in terms of what we see is very different to the full-grown ones that you find in the outback in Australia. Those things are like the size of like a hand. No thanks. So, how are we going? All right. Are we feeling any better about this page? I mean, as I'm feeling more of it, the neon effect is starting to just be more prominent, and therefore I think it looks more intentional. So I'm liking it a bit more. I do feel like I need to hurry up because I don't want this stream to just drag out of me just doing this the whole time, because I really want to finish this up.
Been live for 2 hours now, so thank you to all the people who are still here.
Yes, thank you guys. I did say that I was going to keep this stream shorter, which apparently I am not very good at. I thought this was going to be a quicker video. Welcome to the reality of Sarah's timekeeping.
Jackie Collins has done a super chat and she said, I have too many art supplies and don't need any more, but I wanted to say thank you and that she's learnt so much from you.
Thank you. I do, by the way, try and read all the comments that you guys leave on my YouTube channel, and I so appreciate every time someone shares a video or leaves a comment or even likes the videos. It means a lot to me. And every comment that you guys leave, like there have been some really long comments, especially on like that last video. I know that I've started just leaving hearts on them because I don't have the just time to reply to every single one. But if I've left a heart on your comment, it means that I've stopped and read it. I haven't just gone and ticked them all or whatever. I really do genuinely appreciate every comment, and I do try to read them all. I probably miss a couple because of just the way that the filters work and they're starting to come in bigger amounts. But that's something that I do want to try and keep doing as our channel grows. I don't want to just ignore comments as we start to get more of them. I want to always, like, I really respect the fact that you take the time to stop and write something, and I really appreciate that. So know that when you write, I do see it. And when you send emails, look, I do have a team now that help me because we get a lot of emails that answer some of the like tech support stuff. But if you write a message that's intended for me, they will make sure that it comes to me. So if you say that you want Sarah to read this, they will make sure that I get it. So please don't ever feel like I'm not accessible. I'm just a person, and I absolutely want to hear from you. So please feel free to reach out and just say hello. I can't necessarily offer you one-on-one colouring support because I just don't have the capacity to do that for everybody, but I always love hearing from people and love hearing the stuff that you're doing. And, you know, jump in our Facebook group as well. Show us what you've been colouring. I love seeing the stuff that people colour in there. And if you have questions, the community on Facebook is actually really good at offering help, even if I'm not available. But I'm pretty active in there as well. So when you're not on the stream hanging out with me, you can hang out with me in the Facebook group fairly regularly too.
Now, how often do we see kangaroos or joeys?
Depends where we go.
Well, we usually ride them around, don't we?
I mean, there's one in the backyard.
No, people joke about how Australians ride kangaroos to work. We don't, and they're actually pretty aggressive if you
I probably wouldn't want to ride one.
But you probably see them in dawn or dusk if you're driving out in the country. They'll be hopping around fields and stuff.
Yeah, like 10 minutes from here, you would see them at dawn or dusk, like quite frequently. But not in like a regional area. They're just that little bit out of town. And then, yeah, they're everywhere out of town. There's pretty much anywhere we drive from here, there's a sign on the road saying, watch out for kangaroos, because they're pretty common.
Gabrielle has asked how she finds your group. I'm assuming that's on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah, we can pop a link. But otherwise, if you head to Facebook, just do a search for Sarah Renae Clark and you will find it.
Or Colouring with Sarah Renae Clark.
Yeah. If you can't find it, comment on the video when we've put it up properly and we'll put the link in for you. Okay, I'm actually, just for the sake of time, just going to stop here so that we can do something else because I think we can kind of see where this is going. I will finish this page at some point, maybe later today or over the weekend, and I'll put a finished picture up on the community page and in the Facebook group so you guys can see how it looks when we're all done, because I never quite managed to finish things on streams. It's just hard to do something in an hour or 2 hours while chatting as well. That's just the reality of art. So the decision on what we're going to do to fill this, I think we go for, maybe we go for the highlighters. They're right here. Drink. Sorry, my throat's a bit blocked. So I'm going to go for a super quick approach here and just really roughly fill. Oh, these are pastel though. Do I want that? Yeah, let's just do it. I'm not even going to try and colour in the lines. I'm just going to fill some of these sections with just like blocks of colour and embrace the white in the middle.
While you're doing that, do you plan on doing any more YouTube collabs?
Yeah, definitely. I am planning on doing a collab with Chloe Rose soon. We're just sort of working out because we're both, now I don't want to press too hard so that doesn't go through. We're both just sort of getting back into the swing of things after the holidays, and we'll probably chat soon. And, you know, I don't want to just collaborate with people for the sake of collaborating. You know, I want to sort of, I guess, focus more on building friendships with people first. But, yeah, I'm always up for working with other YouTubers and introducing you guys to other people that I think are worth watching in the YouTube community. So it is something that I think later in the year we'll definitely do more of. That blue's a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be, so I might just ease off on that. For some of these I was thinking just like little patterns almost, rather than blocking out big colour. See that? So we're just kind of filling sections, like it's a really rough kind of colour approach rather than... It's like shortcut colouring. So I'm sort of just colouring the sections that match the outlines a little bit, but at the same time, some of the outlines are multicolour, so I'm just kind of making it up. And keeping some white as well. I think that's most of them. See, I already like that a little bit more because it's just got a touch more colour, so not as much white. It looks a bit more intentional, I guess. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat now. I think I've just been talking too long. All right, I think I'm a bit happier with this now. It's sort of got a bit of intrigue to it now, because as much as everything's all the wrong colours and it's all sort of random fluoro, it at least looks a bit more arty. You know what I mean? I don't know, you might still hate it, but it's at least something, hey? This donut here needs colour. Sorry about the clearing my throat. I think I've just been talking too long at this point. But we are going to finish up in a moment, because I think we're just at that point now where we've been doing this for a while and I really don't want to take up too much more of your time. So I think you guys get a bit of an idea here what I was going for. I think once you see here, now that we've done the outlines and kind of filled some of that colour, I think actually I'm a lot more happy now with how this is turning out. So if we were to continue this, and I know a few of you suggested a dark colour in the background, I think we could definitely, in this background frame, I think that would be a really cool approach to separate the background from this middle section. So I think I will do that. When it comes to this section here, that whether you add more stickers in this section will depend on, I guess, how much planning you want to do. So I would probably leave this blank because that gives us a fair bit of room for planning, but that's really up to you. So I will probably leave that as is for now. Shane has actually disappeared momentarily because our 6-year-old son just needs him for a moment. So just so that I can catch up with the comments, Rebecca, thank you so much for the donation. She said, would you consider exploring sort of Renaissance painting styles, such as mixing ground chalk with egg yolk? Now that definitely catches my attention as something interesting. So I would have to say that is something that I would be curious about. Not something I've thought about doing, but you've got my attention. So, Amy, you're right. I need to stop apologizing for taking up your time. You guys are here to watch me do this, and that's what live streaming is. So you are right. I am going to stop apologising for taking up your time. You've chosen to be here. You can turn it off. I more need to go for my own benefit because I'm starting to get a bit tired. So that's more for me. I do want to show you one more thing though before we go. So we will just do one more thing. We're going to leave this page here. I'm going to finish this in my own time and I'll post a final picture on the community tab. I think where it's at now, you can kind of see the direction I was going. You can see how I've used the stickers to really build what is a piece of art that you haven't had to draw yourself, but you get to kind of, it's almost like a build your own coloring page if you've got the coloring stickers. So that's a really cool approach there. The other thing that you can do with the coloring stickers, which I accidentally did and then realized, actually, this is really cool. We were doing test prints. I think I showed you earlier. We were doing test prints of the printable stickers and we did a test print on a piece of colored paper because it was just what we had. And I got thinking, hey, you could actually use these as die cut files. So this morning, about 20 minutes before we started the stream, we quickly raced off and printed one of these pages and we printed a few different copies on multiple colors here. So I now have a whole pile of die cut stickers. Well, they're not stickers because this is just cardstock, but I've got a whole bunch of pencils and pens and little cute little highlighters from my printable sticker set. So these now you'd need to glue these down or use some double-sided sticky tape to do these rather than, because they're not actually stickers. I don't know if you can buy sticker paper that's cardstock. I'm not sure. You might be able to. But I've just cut these out with the Cricut using the exact same sticker file from the printable stickers. So that's a really easy option. You just have to change the cut thickness so that it cuts through cardstock, which if you're familiar with using your cutting machine, should be fairly easy to do. And then they just pop out. So that's another really good use if you own printable stickers. And because these are coloring stickers, like in this case, you just don't color them in. They're just really cool little outline things. The one thing I did find, the blue paper, because it's a bit darker, the first time I tried doing it, it didn't pick up in the machine. The machine couldn't recognize the color. It wanted white paper. It was like, what is this? This is too dark. But I tried it a second time and it worked. So you probably can't do this on a really dark color. But this is pretty dark in terms of what the computer can see, and it did work eventually. We just had to try it twice. So I'm not going to stick these down because I don't have glue on me right now, but let's just have, I'll just lay them out to show you an idea. So what you could do with something like this is you've got all your die cuts, and we could even use some washi tape underneath, and we could basically use these to create a scene, and instead of using stickers, you've got your die cuts here. So so you could either color underneath or even get a sheet of colored card or some decorative paper. I didn't grab any decorative paper. That would have been a really good idea before I started this. I wonder if I have any in my drawer. Of course I don't. I never have it when I need it, do I? You could start by doing just something underneath. You know what? Let's use our washi tape. So we've got, let's go for similar colors. We've got orange. Look at that. I think we actually have the right colors here. Orange, blue, that's not quite right. In fact, I probably want a different color rather than using the exact same colors that I'm about to put on top. I'm just picking. Even use. I'm just going to do this. I really want to keep this simple and quick. So. Just going to do one layer here, one box. So we're going to pick this box. This particular washi tape is fairly see-through. So if you're doing this for yourself, you might have better tape, or you might use a piece of card that's the right size, or you might even just layer the washi tape twice. There we go.
Have you ever thought about colouring in the wall behind you?
I'm not colouring the wall behind me. I know everyone asks all the time. I like it black and white. The thing is, if I was going to do it coloured, I probably would have designed it differently in the first place. So as much as I love the enthusiasm for everyone who wants me to colour it in, I think that might just be a future studio idea of doing a coloured wall somewhere. I'm just going to redo this one so it's a little bit more in the middle. And we're going to use our ruler to rip these off. Look at that. Aha! Oh, that worked way better than I thought it was going to work. Washi cutting hack. Look at that. Oh, that didn't work on that one. There we go. Perfect. There you go, guys. Look at that. Perfect, perfect washi edge. I used to try and do that with scissors and it was terrible. Don't even bother. Okay, so we've got our girl here in the middle. Although I actually think that she would look better coloured. So what I will do is use her from the sticker book. I'm not going to colour her in today, but I've got 2 sticker books here, but I try to use the same one because I have a habit, I have a big tub of stickers of all the sticker books that I keep on starting and not finishing. I need to stop doing that. Okay, so she's going to go right in the middle. And then we're going to give her some supplies. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have put the supplies behind her. Sorry, well, she's already stuck down now. I can't undo it. I'm just going to put another one on top. That's okay. I've just wasted one sticker, but that's okay because we're just planning. So what I would do, I'll just show you anyway, is stick all these down with some double-sided tape or something. Just lay them out. And because they're coloured, it's just cute. They're done. You could like have them coming out of her, but she'll be on top at the end. Some washi tape. That's the same as that one. Let's get something different. You can always put 1 or 2 down here. The one thing about these live streams is that when I'm not talking, it's like really quiet here. So as much as like you're all here watching me, for me, it's like I'm just talking to myself. Shane, talk.
Caitlin has asked if you plan on selling any merchandise.
We want to do that this year. What do you guys think? Would you guys like t-shirts? Would you buy them? Who would wear a t-shirt? What do you want to see on a t-shirt? I'm keen. Let's do it. I'm in.
And Knuckle Sandwich has done another super chat and has asked if you have any prints of your art that they can buy and display in their homes.
Oh, that's lovely. And I would love that, except that at the moment, a lot of the... So I have like colouring page art, but most of the actual art that I've done like on the YouTube channel has been like the Disney colouring pages, which I obviously don't own the copyright to, so I can't sell that. But look, in the future, as I keep making more stuff, then look, it might be an option. So
you could buy a planner and display that in your home. A lovely box.
A planner box for your wall. All right, this is what I'm thinking. Here we go. She's just surrounded by stuff. I put the sticker down and then realised I should have put her on last. Hindsight. But that's okay. You know what? I might even, because what I'm thinking here is that she will sit on top like that. So imagine with me, people. Imagine. Except that she would be the white sticker. But I did tell you we would just, oh, now I want to stick it all down because now I want to like keep it because I actually like how that's come out. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so you see there what I've done is I've laid all the stickers just around her. So to do this without having stuck the sticker first, you would maybe draw yourself a circle as a reference guide so that you have a guide to then place all of your items, stick them down with your tape. I think it's cool to have a few things sort of coming out the side. That's up to you if you want to do that. She's got some little elements here or there, maybe one down here. But I would probably not even do anything else on this page unless you wanted to then color in the background in similar colors, or you could just leave it at that and that's your planner stuff. But that's something different. And that idea is using the printable sticker files, which again, you can get printable stickers on Etsy or on people's blogs if they are a sticker shop. Or I also have printable versions like what I'm using now of like this sticker book, as well as all of my past stickers. Some of my, wow, that's loud. Some of my past stickers are selling out in the hard copies, and once they're sold out, we're not necessarily reprinting them. We are looking at moving more to this book format because I think it's just a bit nicer. So some of my older sets, like for example these ones, once these sell out, that'll be it. We'll probably be reformatting them, but you can always buy the printable versions. That is very loud and distracting. So this week, I'm in the process of redesigning all these to be a little bit more friendly for the Cricut. At the moment, if you print them, they're this size, whereas I'm making them bigger so that you can print them on a Cricut or a Silhouette, and that way you can actually print them all like this on any color paper. Use them as die cuts as well. So if you tune into my video next week that's coming up, I will be showing you exactly how to do that, and by then they will all be updated on the website. I think we're going to finish up for now, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who has joined me today. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm just opening up my comments again so I can just sort of have a look to see, I mean, Shane's reading them anyway. But I did want to just say thank you to everyone who has joined me today. I really appreciate you guys watching along, and to everyone who's come back and watched the replay. I just love the support that you guys offer on this channel. So please, if this is your first video with me, please subscribe and check out some of my other videos. A lot of the other videos are a little bit more thought out and planned without a lot of the pausing in between and me just figuring out what I'm doing. But at the same time, that is the fun of a live stream. You get to see me process stuff how I process. This is the real me. This is the part of me that this is a little bit of a behind the scenes. It's also a chance for you guys to ask questions and get your answers live, to get a shout out if you jump in nice and early before the big crowd floods in. And I really love all of you that jump in, and I love seeing the familiar faces. I do notice the people that comment regularly on my videos. I read all the comments. I try to read all the comments on my other videos. And if you're someone who comments often, we notice, we recognize those names, and we really, really appreciate the support. So for now, thank you guys. If you are still wanting to grab a planner, we do still have some left, although they are running out. And I mentioned a discount coupon earlier. We will put that in the description as well. Thank you. I think that's it, unless we can think of anything else that we need to do. Just on your way out, maybe check out a video. In fact, I have a little game that you can do right now if it's not like crazy hours of the night and you want something else to watch. We have now set up a new, is it working yet? Great. We've now set up a new little short website that you can use as a bit of a YouTube watching game, and put a comment on the video to tell me which video you end up with afterwards. Where if you type in your website browser, src.yt/, and then pick a number, any number between 1 and 50, I think, maybe 60. I don't know how many episodes we've had. That will take you to a random YouTube episode on my channel. So my challenge for you is to pick a random number, head to that YouTube episode, watch it and tell me what you ended up with.
But it's a 3-digit number.
Okay,
So if it's
so
episode 10, it's 010.
010. So it has to be 3 digits. But that's a fun little game. I'm going to actually pop that on the community tab so you can come and tell me what episode you ended up on. But please, when you head to that episode, maybe go leave a comment there or a like or something. Just, helps me out. Thank you guys. Have a good day.